Welcome to Backlash Talk, where I simply go over the recap of what occurred yesterday, which was amazing. I really, really had a good time last night. Let's hope I remember most of the things that occurred during the show. As always, there's a link down below to credit WWE for piecing this highlight recap, if you will, for me. Makes me feel special. That right there is what's going to happen to you, by the way, if you give this video a thumbs down. This was a good match. This was a really good match. I was very impressed. It was interesting, too, because the Puerto Rican crowd is wild. Like, they're on fire. And it makes it that much better. But they weren't liking Bianca, were they? They were all for Io Sky. And that's okay. I'm just saying usually, you know, face heel, but whatever. Kind of felt like a Monday Night Raw after Mania sometimes, where the crowd just goes hog wild for the opposing, you know, person there, the heels, right? So yeah, this was a good match, and then Bianca retained. That's fine. This was interesting. I was having mixed emotions through the beginning, but when the whole thing played out, I was like, you know what? This was good for me, because, you know, sometimes we take for granted what we see in the ring, and we think that it's potentially easy and whatnot, and to make things look not stiff, not awkward, that can be a difficult task. Hence, making it to the main roster doesn't always necessarily mean that you got what it takes. But like I said, after what we saw with Lesnar and Omos, and now Seth Rollins and Omos, even though Omos came up short, which is a little ironic considering how tall. See, that was me trying to be funny. Didn't work. It's okay. This made Omos still look strong, and it was like the typical David Goliath kind of thing. And I was just very happy with Seth Rollins getting the win. Simple as that. That I would have been not happy with had it been the other way around. Great match. It was good considering, you know, the big massive weight difference. Because back in the day, I'm trying to picture if this would have been like Bret Hart, you know, Giant Gonzalez or something like that. No disrespect to Giant Gonzalez. But there's some of those big guys, sometimes they're awkward, you know what I mean? That's why I have so much respect for Big Show, because no matter how old he gets, that guy could move, and he's a safe worker, right? There's some others that are just like... Exactly. Anyhow, so that was pretty cool. This match was something. So Austin Theory defeated Bobby Lashley and Bronson Reed. Man, Bronson Reed put on quite a show. I mean, so did Bobby Lashley. What I really like about this, you've got those three different types of physiques. I identify more as, like, you know, a mixture between Bronson Reed and Austin Theory, probably more on the Bronson Reed side. But man, that guy could move. And he's believable, too, with his moveset, how strong he is. Same thing with Austin when he picked up Bronson Reed. And then Bobby Lashley, I mean, you expect it, because he's like the epitome of, you know what I mean, like a comic book hero. But don't get it twisted, because you look at somebody like Bronson Reed, and he ain't no pushover, right? And, oh yeah, this was just great. And to me, the other thing I think about, too, is I just kind of recently started thinking about it a bit more now that I'm analyzing shows as well as covering the wrestling game on my channel. You know, it's one thing when you're scripted and you're in there with your opponent, you got to communicate with them a little bit. Okay, pick me up here. DDT me. Okay, I'm going to reverse that. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes they do a bit of talking. Sometimes they actually don't do much, which is why when you have the chemistry and the magic of people like Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, to go back in time a little bit, I don't even think they ever spoke to each other. They just knew. That's the magic right there. Anyhow, this match, I mean, I tried listening out for it. It's got to be hard when there's like a bunch of people, especially like a Royal Rumble, a Battle Royal, Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Like, it's got to be really hectic. Like, how do you... I don't know, man. I don't know how they do it, but I was really happy with that match. This was good. I feel like this is David and Goliath, but you know, the women's version. And this picture really paints it clear. Like, I mean, you know, just towering over her. And I'm just like, wow. So she retained. Rhea Ripley retained. But this was a good match. I felt like she held her own. Zelina Vega held her own. But you could see through the story, obviously, of the match that Rhea Ripley was quite dominating. But she did well. She was in her hometown. I think it was the first time, if I'm not mistaken, that she wrestled in Puerto Rico. Because I also think it was the first time. I don't know if it's the first time a pay-per-view was in Puerto Rico. I know it was the first time SmackDown was in Puerto Rico, when SmackDown just aired. Anyhow, again, the crowd was wild, and it was great. Like, it was a good match. I was entertained. Oh man, Bad Bunny defeats Damian Priest in a San Juan street fight. So, Damian Priest was born in New York, New York, as they say. And I believe he grew up in actually the same city. Don't quote me on this now. From what I understand, he actually grew up in Puerto Rico. And I forget where they say he's from, like when they introduce him. But they did not, and I think they did that with some other wrestlers, again, trying to pay attention and remember everything that happened last night. A lot has happened since then for me. They just didn't mention where he was from. I don't think he's from Puerto Rico, but it was just kind of interesting how they just mentioned his weight, and that was it. This was really good. You know, I've always been impressed with Bad Bunny. No disrespect to him. I had no idea who the hell he was before he showed up a couple of years ago, actually fighting alongside Damian Priest, if you remember, at WrestleMania a couple of years back. He's just so impressive. Then I started getting into some of his music. I was like, oh man, this shit's good. And then in the ring, it's like, wow. Because he has a passion for wrestling. And I don't know how much time he puts in practicing, because this is not his main gig. But compared to and I'm going to say it, and some people aren't going to like it, but I'm just going to go out and say it. But compared to a punk like Machine Gun Kelly, yeah, that's right, I said it. This guy deserves the spotlight. This guy deserved to be a character in WWE 2K23. Whereas last year with the Machine Gun Kelly thing, that was some dumbass shit. I'm allowed to say that. You can agree or disagree. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. Let's not get too political about it. Overall, I was incredibly, incredibly entertained. And we forgot to mention something here. Well, we didn't. I did. Fucking Carlito came out, because at the end, everything got really goosey with, you know, the Judgment Day and Latino World Order came out. Savio Vega was there. Is that his name? Did I butcher his name? And Carlito. I don't know if you remember him from back in the day, but man, I was like, wow, good for him. Like, he's been keeping in shape. I think he might have been a little bit beefier than back in the days in the early 2000s when he was feuding with Doctor of Thugonomics, John Cena. Like, we're talking like early 2000s. So he's got to easily be in his 40s, like you know, my age, mid 40s or something. At least I think so. Anyways, the whole thing was just as entertainment goes, literally the E in WWE. It was just there. I was just really happy with everything. This was cool. This made the Bloodline look, you know, strong, because they keep losing. They lost the belts. They lost a rematch. And then the dissension with Solo Sikoa, making it look like he was going to bop Jey Uso with the, you know, the thumb. The Samoan Spike. I almost forgot the name of the move. And it was just like crazy. And then, you know, taps him, says, you stay in there, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was just, oh man, I can't wait to see where this goes. Again, Roman wasn't around, but we're not going to get into that in this one. We're going to stick to the script here. But I really enjoyed it. I mean, they lost, and that's okay. They can lose. Balance of power there. And then no picture. Apparently, we don't deserve a picture here. But Cody Rhodes defeated Brock Lesnar. This was a good match. I didn't like the finishing move, like how it ended, but whatever. It's not a bad thing. Just means that Lesnar was, you know, worn out. And that also made Lesnar look strong again. You can look strong even in defeat. He was all cut up, bleeding. Cody Rhodes just did really well. Like it was just good. I just really liked this entire card, like the energy, the delivery of this entire show. I don't even think I can pick out, and I don't want to do the whole, like, what's the best match, what's the weakest match. I don't want to get into that. I just want to say that overall, as an event for a couple of hours or however long it was, I was thoroughly entertained. And yeah, a bit more so than what happened on SmackDown and Raw. I wish this kind of momentum, if you will, could keep up week after week, but it can sometimes come close. But this, to me, this whole show, this whole night, was just great. Really. Just wow. Let me know what you think. It's okay if you didn't like it. Let me know if there were some points in some of the matches that you didn't like. Was there a direction that you wish would have been different? You know, like a different outcome? I do like, the whole thing, because sometimes this happens. Let's go back to this, Puerto Rican zone. Selena Vega, she's in Puerto Rico. Let's have her win the title. So cliche. Sami Zayn in Montreal, let's have him win the title. Didn't win it. And I kind of like when that happens too, because it makes it more, believable in the sense that if you were to always just drop the title because the person's in their hometown kind of thing, it doesn't make it, seem as genuine. But anyhow, there you have it. Let me know down below what you thought, where you're hoping things are going to go moving forward, because you could see it right next to him there. The World Heavyweights Championship belt. That starts on Monday, and then on SmackDown, the Part 1 and Part 2 of the tournament. And then, if I'm not mistaken, please don't quote me on this. It's hard for me to remember everything off the top of my head. I got severe ADHD, anxiety, and all that. And I only mention that constantly so that you understand how my brain works or doesn't work. I think they go to Saudi Arabia for Night of Champions, and that's where the winners of the tournament from Raw and SmackDown, yeah, even SmackDown, come together, if I didn't mishear that. So that means that you could have someone from SmackDown win that, and then that means they would jump ship. We'll maybe get into that in another video, because that one is going to get political. I'm not dreading it. I have a political YouTube channel. Trust me, I'm not worried about getting into it. The whole thing with Saudi Arabia, that is a very divisive thing. It's like the Donald Trump, Joe Biden of wrestling. Like, that's one of those topics where it gets really divisive. But I don't care to get into it. I'll try and share my thoughts, maybe like I said in another video, about the whole relationship with WWE in Saudi Arabia. And, yeah. Anyhow, if you liked the video, as always, go ahead, give it a thumbs up. I mean, it does greatly help support the channel with the algorithm and making me a little bit more relevant in the search results, and people are looking shit up. It's a lot more than just a happy, feel-good moment that I get from seeing 3 or 4 thumbs up on a video. And if you didn't like the video, like I said, go ahead, give it a thumbs down, and I'll get Bianca to come after you and toss your ass out. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, I mean, naturally, that would be fantastic now, wouldn't it? I'm on my way, slowly but surely, to 1,000 subs, being monetized. I've got more than the hours put in. I just need the subs to 1,000 subs, so that obviously would be pretty cool. And if not, well, whatever. Thanks for stopping by anyways. Take care, and maybe I'll see some of you in the next one. Bye for now.